Hello and welcome to the Dr. Grant Show. Do you have sugar cravings and you'd like to find some alternatives to sugar? Then this show is for you. Today I'll be discussing alternatives to sugar that perhaps you've never thought of. So let's get into it. White sugar, as we all know and have probably seen tons of studies and all that kind of fun stuff on, is not always the best alternative in terms of sweetening your foods. So, what are the alternatives? Do we give up sugar entirely? No, we don't have to give up sugar entirely. So, this is why I'm going to be sharing with you some alternatives that you can get familiar with, try, cozy up to, begin including them in your recipes and see how it goes. Alternative to white sugar number one, raw sugar, known as turbinado sugar. It's a lovely alternative to white sugar. It is kind of brownish caramel in color, and it has a richer, deeper flavor than traditional white sugar. And because it's not bleached or processed, hence the caramel color, it's often looked at and looked upon as healthier for you than white sugar. Number two, coconut sugar. There have been some scientific studies and reports that I've read that say that coconut sugar is a nice alternative to white sugar. You can also use almost equal amounts in a recipe of white sugar for coconut sugar. Same thing for turbinado or raw sugar. So it makes it extremely easy to begin incorporating it into your recipes. One note about coconut sugar is it is not often as sweet as white sugar, so it's something that the taste is perfectly fine. It's just that you may notice it is definitely not as sweet. But since we're trying to lower our spike and our insulin spike on eating white sugar, this is perfectly fine. But if you need just a touch bit more of coconut sugar to offset the fact that it's not as sweet in order to get the taste that you desire, then this is one of the reasons why I'm giving you that heads up, so to speak. The other thing with coconut sugar that I've also found is really, really wonderful is it contains a few trace minerals and elements to it. So if you're looking to get a few more bits of nutrition and trace minerals into your diet, then coconut sugar is definitely going to be your go-to. Stevia is another alternative to sugar. Now, back in the days, 20 years ago, when I first tried stevia, I wasn't very impressed. But fortunately, new brands have come out since I tried it 20 years ago, and I've been tinkering around, and you have to find the brand that works for you. But I'm happy to say that if you decide to use powdered form of stevia, you definitely can use it quite nicely in your coffee or your tea. And because it has zero sweetening at all, zero sugar, you get that sweet taste just without the sugar, which is great. So find what works for you. So far, I've been using it in in tea. I don't drink coffee, but I've been reading reports that it works well in coffee. So far, I have been using it in my tea. And although it is a different taste, it still does sweeten my tea and it is rather pleasant. So try your stevia. Monk fruit extract is another one that I've been hearing good things about. I have just grabbed a bag of it. I haven't used it yet because I'm still running through the other things that I have. But as soon as I try it, I'll officially share with you if it really is fantastic. But the reviews that I've read about monk fruit extract and sugar, monk sugar, is that it's a lovely alternative and substitute for and to sugar. Agave nectar, that's another one that is a very nice alternative to sugar. The last scientific reports that I recall reading said that it also didn't spike your insulin levels and glucose levels as much. So agave is great. I will admit on my end, when I use it in cooking, you do have to adjust the recipe a little bit because it is a liquid. So it's not going to work in equal parts to sugar. So you'll want to conduct your research first to find recipes that are equivalent that have agave. My recommendation so far is where to start out with when you decide to incorporate agave as a sweetener into your routine would be coffee, tea, and breakfast items like your pancakes and your cupcakes when you bake those and make those at home. That's an excellent place and wonderful place to start. The final item that I like to introduce to you is using maple syrup and honey as alternatives to sugar. Honey is a wonderful thing. Just make sure that you're getting raw honey instead of your non-raw honey because of certain regulations that may allow high fructose corn syrup to actually be in honey and still allow it to be called honey. So this is the reason why I say look for raw honey or organic honey. Usually raw honey is what you want to look for. And honey is a fantastic substitute for sugar in baking and baked goods, such as your muffins, your cakes, anything that you're using, such as even your pancakes, waffles. Honey is a lovely, lovely substitute. It's a great substitute for tea. I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't know if it works very well in coffee. Maybe you guys can chime in. Maple syrup is the last one that I like to include on this fantastic list as an alternative to sugar. I have read great reports on maple syrup, and you also get those trace minerals again. So that is everything. Wonderful alternatives and substitutes for sugar if you're looking to cut back on your white sugar consumption. Much love to everyone. Past episodes and future episodes of the Dr. Grant Show could be found on edibleaddiction.com. If you like a little bit of help with your eating habits, overeating, emotional eating, food addiction, I invite you to log on to edibleaddiction.com where you can schedule a free get to know you session and see if working together is actually the way to go to get you to where you want to go much faster than where you are. Much love to everyone. Bye.